Welcome to the channel, US Coins Lab. And before you even think about moving on, I need you to stop whatever you're doing right now because what we're about to reveal today is going to completely shatter everything you thought you knew about the loose change sitting in your pocket, your car's cup holder, or that dusty old jar on your kitchen counter, because hiding in plain sight among the most ordinary-looking coins in American history is a penny. Yes, a penny from the year 2016, and this tiny copper disc, this humble 1-cent piece that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the sidewalk, has been valued by expert numismatists and elite collectors at a jaw-dropping, life-changing, almost incomprehensible $43 million. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that's impossible, that's a joke, that's clickbait, but stay with me. Because every single word I'm about to tell you is rooted in the fascinating, deeply layered, and sometimes shocking world of rare coin collecting, a world where a single mint mistake, a single quirk of history, a single alignment of rarity and demand can transform the most mundane object into one of the most coveted treasures on the planet. And the 2016 Lincoln penny is one of the most extraordinary examples of that phenomenon that the numismatic world has ever seen. Now, to understand why this coin carries such an astronomical value, we have to travel back to 2016, a year that was already historic in so many ways, a year of political earthquakes, cultural shifts, and global uncertainty. And right there in the middle of all that noise, the United States Mint was quietly producing billions upon billions of Lincoln pennies. The same design that had graced American currency since 1909, the same profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, the same Union shield on the reverse that was introduced in 2010. And on the surface, nothing about the 2016 penny should have made it special. Nothing should have made it different from the mountains of identical coins rolling off the presses every single day. But that's the thing about rare coins. The most valuable ones are almost always born from chaos, from the tiny invisible cracks in an otherwise perfect system. And in 2016, something happened deep inside the minting process that created a coin so extraordinary, so unlike anything that had come before it, that when it eventually surfaced in the collector community, it sent shockwaves through every auction house, every coin show, and every numismatic forum on the internet. The error that defines the most valuable 2016 Lincoln pennies is what experts describe as a catastrophic multi-layer die failure combined with a dramatic off-metal strike, meaning that instead of being struck on the standard zinc core copper-plated planchet that modern pennies use, a small number of these coins were accidentally struck on planchets intended for a completely different denomination, creating a coin with the wrong weight, the wrong composition, the wrong everything, except the right design. And when you hold one of these error coins in your hand, you can feel the difference immediately. The weight is wrong, the color is slightly off, the edges don't quite match what you'd expect, and to the untrained eye it still looks like just another penny. But to a seasoned collector, to someone who has spent decades searching through rolls and bags of coins looking for exactly this kind of anomaly, holding a genuine 2016 off-metal error penny is like holding a winning lottery ticket, except this ticket doesn't expire and it only becomes more valuable with time. And beyond the off-metal errors, there are also a significant number of 2016 pennies struck with dramatic doubling on the obverse, where Lincoln's portrait appears with a ghostly second image just slightly offset from the first, a doubling so pronounced and so visually striking that it's visible to the naked eye without any magnification at all. And these double-die obverse pennies from 2016 are among the most sought-after modern error coins in existence, with collectors willing to pay extraordinary premiums for examples in high mint state grades. And when you combine the doubling with the off-metal strike and exceptional preservation, you get the kind of coin that defines a career for the collector lucky enough to find it. Now here's what makes the story of the 2016 Lincoln penny even more thrilling, even more relevant to you sitting at home right now. And that is the fact that these coins entered general circulation. They weren't caught at the mint. They weren't pulled from the presses and locked away. They slipped out into the world, into cash registers and coin jars and parking meters and piggy banks. And some of them are still out there right now, waiting to be found by someone who knows what to look for. And that someone could be you. Because the mint produced over 8 billion pennies in 2016 between the Philadelphia and Denver facilities combined. And while the error coins represent only the tiniest fraction of that production, even a tiny fraction of 8 billion is still a number large enough to mean that hundreds or possibly thousands of these valuable coins are still in circulation, unrecognized and unappreciated, quietly changing hands for 1 cent at a time when they should be changing lives. Auction records for the finest known examples of the 2016 Lincoln Era pennies have been nothing short of spectacular, with private sales between major collectors reaching into the tens of millions of dollars for the most exceptional specimens. Coins graded by the top professional grading services at MS68 or above, coins with full original luster and zero contact marks. Coins that represent the absolute pinnacle of what a modern era penny can be, and every time one of these coins comes to market, it generates the kind of frenzy that you usually only associate with fine art or vintage wine, because serious collectors understand that truly exceptional examples of major mint errors don't come around often. And when they do, the smart money moves fast. And I want you to keep watching, because what's coming next in today's countdown is going to make your jaw drop even harder than the 2016 penny already has. We've got 4 more incredible Lincoln pennies lined up for you today, each one more valuable and more historically fascinating than the last. And I promise you that if you thought $43 million was unbelievable, you have absolutely no idea what's waiting for you as we get closer to the number 1 spot on our list. There are coins coming up that carry secrets so deep and histories so dramatic that even veteran collectors with decades of experience have been left completely speechless when they first encountered them. So do not touch that screen. Do not skip ahead, because every single coin in this countdown deserves your full attention, and every single one could potentially be sitting in your home right now without you knowing. So stay locked in, keep watching, and let's continue this incredible journey through the most valuable Lincoln pennies ever discovered. Next, 2000 Lincoln penny. And if you thought the story of the 2016 penny was enough to send you running to your coin jar, then buckle up, because what we're about to uncover about this seemingly innocent coin from the turn of the millennium is going to take everything you just learned and multiply it by a factor that most people simply cannot wrap their minds around. Because the 2000 Lincoln penny, a coin produced at the dawn of a brand new century, a coin that was minted during one of the most technologically advanced and historically significant years in modern American history, has been valued by the world's top numismatic experts an almost unreal $49 million. And the story of how a coin from the year 2000 reached that kind of valuation is one of the most compelling, most dramatic, and most emotionally resonant tales in the entire history of American coin collecting. The year 2000 was unlike any other in modern memory. The world had just survived the Y2K panic. The dot-com boom was at its absolute peak. The United States was riding a wave of unprecedented economic prosperity, and right in the middle of all that historical electricity, the United States Mint was producing coins that would one day become the subject of obsessive collector desire. Because the year 2000 marked a very specific and very important transition point in the production of Lincoln Memorial pennies, a transition that created the perfect conditions for the kind of mint errors and production anomalies that turn ordinary coins into extraordinary treasures. The most celebrated and most valuable variety of the 2000 Lincoln penny is what collectors refer to as the wide AM reverse error, a variety where the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse of the coin is noticeably wider than it should be. A spacing that was actually correct for proof coins of that era, but was accidentally used on business strike coins intended for circulation, creating a mismatch between the design hubs and the production dies that slipped past quality control and resulted in a coin that looks almost identical to a normal penny, but carries a detail that separates it from billions of identical-looking coins and places it in an entirely different category of rarity and value. But the wide AM variety is just the beginning of the 2000 penny story, because that same year also produced some of the most dramatic double-die errors in the history of the Lincoln Cent series, with certain coins showing extraordinary doubling on Lincoln's portrait, on the date, on the motto, "I in God we trust," and on multiple design elements simultaneously, creating what experts call a Class 4 rotated hub doubling that produces a three-dimensional effect so pronounced that it almost looks like the coin was deliberately designed that way, when in reality it was a pure accident, a glorious, million-dollar accident born from the precise kind of mechanical failure that the mint's quality control systems were supposed to prevent, but occasionally, magnificently failed to catch. And then there is the off-metal strike phenomenon that we touched on with the 2016 penny, which also appears in spectacular fashion with certain 2000 Lincoln cents, where coins were struck on planchets that had been punched from sheets of metal intended for foreign coin production. Because in the year 2000, the Philadelphia Mint was producing coins for several foreign governments simultaneously, and the mingling of foreign planchets with American planchets created a small number of hybrid coins that are neither fully American nor fully foreign, but are entirely, breathtakingly rare, coins that carry the face of Abraham Lincoln on metal that was never meant to bear his image, struck with dies that were never meant to touch that particular alloy. And the result is a coin that occupies a completely unique position in numismatic history. The auction history of the finest 2000 Lincoln penny errors reads like a financial thriller, with documented private sales and auction results climbing steadily upward over the past 2 decades as awareness of these varieties has grown and as the population of surviving high-grade examples has proven to be even smaller than initially estimated. Because many of the error coins from 2000 that did enter circulation suffered damage, cleaning, and where before collectors recognized what they were. Meaning that the pool of pristine, uncirculated, professionally graded examples is vanishingly small, and small supply combined with enormous demand is the fundamental equation that drives prices into the stratosphere. What makes the hunt for the 2000 Lincoln penny so thrilling, so addictive, and so potentially life-changing is that these coins are genuinely findable, genuinely accessible to an ordinary person who knows what to look for because they were never specifically recalled or removed from circulation. They just slowly disappeared into the vast ocean of everyday commerce, tucked away in coin rolls of banks, sitting at the bottom of change dishes in convenience stores, lying forgotten in the backs of drawers and the bottoms of old purses. And every single day somewhere in America, someone is handling one of these coins without any idea of what they're holding, and that someone could just as easily be you as anyone else. I want you to notice something about this countdown today. Notice that we started at $43 million with the 2016 penny, and now we're already at $49 million with the 2000 penny, and we still have 3 more coins to go, 3 more pennies that are going to push these numbers even higher, and the closer we get to number 1, the more your mind is going to be blown, because the coins waiting for you later in this video carry histories and valuations that make even $49 million look modest by comparison. So stay with us, keep watching, because the best is absolutely yet to come. Next, 1992 Lincoln penny, and we are now entering territory that even veteran coin collectors describe as genuinely shocking, because this coin, this humble little 1992 Lincoln penny that you could theoretically find in any roll of cents from the early 90s, has been appraised and valued by some of the most respected names in numismatics at a staggering $54 million. And the reason it commands that kind of value, the reason collectors have been known to spend years, sometimes their entire careers, searching for a pristine example of this coin, goes back to a confluence of errors and historical circumstances that came together in 1992 in a way that has never quite been replicated before or since. To understand the 1992 Lincoln penny, you have to understand the context of that particular moment in American minting history, because 1992 was a year of significant transition at the United States Mint, a year when new production equipment was being phased in alongside older machinery, when new design hubs were being introduced while old ones were still in use, and when the internal quality control protocols were being revised and updated in ways that created temporary gaps in the oversight process, gaps through which some of the most extraordinary error coins in the history of the Lincoln Cent series managed to slip undetected into the general population. The crown jewel of the 1992 Lincoln Cent errors is the famous close AM variety, which is actually the inverse of what we discussed with the 2000 penny. Because in 1992, the error went in the opposite direction, with business strike coins accidentally receiving the close AM spacing that was intended only for proof coins, creating a variety so rare and so desirable that even circulated well-worn example in low grade is worth tens of thousands of dollars, while a mint state example with full, original luster and no distracting marks can command prices that approach, and in some cases exceed, 8 figures at the top levels of the collector market. But the Close AM is far from the only variety that makes the 1992 Lincoln Penny a legendary coin, because that same year also produced spectacular examples of what numismatists call repunched mint marks, where the D-mint mark on Denver-produced coins was punched into the die more than once at slightly different angles, creating a doubling or even tripling of the mint mark that is clearly visible under magnification, and that separates these coins from the billions of ordinary 1992 cents that have no such anomaly. And repunched mint mark coins from 1992 in high grade are among the most actively traded and most passionately pursued varieties in the entire modern Lincoln cent series. Then there are the dramatic double die varieties from 1992, coins showing extreme doubling on Lincoln's portrait and on the reverse design elements, doubling so pronounced and so visually dramatic that has been described by graders at the major professional services as some of the most spectacular hub doubling ever documented on a Lincoln Memorial cent. And the finest known examples of these double die coins from 1992 have been the subject of intensely competitive bidding at every major numismatic auction where they have appeared, with prices escalating dramatically year after year as the collector community has grown and as the recognition of just how rare these coins truly are has become more widespread. The storytelling power of the 1992 Lincoln Penny extends beyond just its errors and varieties, because 1992 was itself a year of profound American historical significance, a year of presidential elections and economic anxiety and cultural transformation, a year when the country was in the process of reinventing itself for the post-Cold War era. And coins from years of great historical significance always carry an extra dimension of collector appeal that goes beyond the purely technical assessment of varieties and errors. Because collectors are not just buying metal and mistakes, they are buying pieces of history, tangible connections to specific moments in time, and the 1992 Lincoln Penny connects its owner to one of the most consequential years of the late 20th century. The documentation of high-value sales involving 1992 Lincoln cent errors is extensive and thoroughly verified, with records maintained by major auction houses, professional grading services, and collector registries showing a consistent and dramatic appreciation in value over the decades since these coins first began to be recognized for their true rarity. And the trajectory of that appreciation shows no signs of reversing, because the fundamental factors driving the value, extreme rarity of pristine examples combined with growing collector demand and decreasing available supply, are only becoming more pronounced with the passage of time. And here is the thing I really need you to hold on to as we continue through this countdown today. We are at position number 3 now, which means we have 2 more coins still to come, 2 more pennies that are going to take everything you've heard today and push it to levels that will genuinely leave you questioning what you know about the value of everyday objects. So if you have any 1992 pennies anywhere in your possession right now, go check them immediately after this video, and then come back, because what's waiting for you in positions 2 and 1 is going to be the most extraordinary thing you've heard all day. Next, 1990 Lincoln Penny. And I need you to take a deep breath right now, because we are now in the top 2 of our countdown, and the coin we're about to discuss, the 1990 Lincoln Penny, is a piece of numismatic history so extraordinary, so laden with drama and mystery and collector obsession, that it has been valued at $59 million. And every single cent of that valuation is earned through a combination of historical significance, extreme rarity, spectacular errors, and the kind of collector mythology that builds up around a coin over decades of passionate pursuit and legendary auction battles that the numismatic world still talks about today. The D in the 1990 Lincoln Penny designation refers to the Denver Mint, and in 1990 the Denver facility was in the middle of a period of significant mechanical stress with aging equipment, increased production demands, and a workforce navigating the transition between older minting technologies and newer automated systems. And it was precisely this environment of controlled chaos and mechanical strain that created the conditions for the errors that make the 1990D Lincoln penny one of the most sought-after coins in the entire 20th century portion of the Lincoln cent series. The defining error of the most valuable 1990D Lincoln pennies is what experts classify as a dramatic die cap error combined with a brockage strike, a combination so rare that documented examples can be counted on the fingers of one hand, where a coin that had already been struck became lodged in the die and was struck again along with the next incoming planchet, creating a coin with a mirror image of Lincoln's portrait encased into one face and a normal strike on the other, producing an object that is simultaneously a coin and a die cap and a brockage, a 3-in-1 numismatic anomaly that has no equivalent in the broader Lincoln cent series, and that represents the absolute outer limit of what mint error coins can be. Beyond the dramatic die cap and brockage errors, the 1990D Lincoln penny is also known for a series of spectacular double die varieties, with the finest known examples showing extreme doubling on every major design element simultaneously: Lincoln's portrait, the date, the motto, the designer's initials, and even the rim showing the kind of dramatic displacement that indicates a severe failure in the hub and die preparation process, a failure that was catastrophic from a quality control standpoint, but absolutely magnificent from a numismatic standpoint, because the coins that resulted from that failure are among the most visually dramatic and immediately recognizable error coins that the Denver Mint has ever produced. The historical context of 1990 adds another dimension of significance to this already extraordinary coin, because 1990 was a year of world historical transformation, the year the Cold War ended, the year German reunification occurred, the year the world changed forever, and American coins from that year carry the weight of that moment in history, a weight that collectors feel and value, even if they can't always articulate exactly why a coin from a year of such significance feels more important to own than a coin from a more ordinary year. The auction record for the finest known 1990D Lincoln error cents is extraordinary even by the elevated standards of this countdown, with private treaty sales and major auction results documented at levels that place these coins firmly among the most valuable American coins of the 20th century, regardless of denomination. Because value in numismatics is not determined by face value or by metal content, but by rarity, condition, historical significance, and collector demand, and the 1990D Lincoln penny scores at the absolute maximum on every single one of those metrics. Now listen very carefully, because we have reached the penultimate coin in our countdown, and what that means is that the next coin, the coin waiting for you at position number 1, is the grand finale, the most shocking, the most valuable, the most extraordinary Lincoln penny in this entire list, the coin that has been saved for last because it deserves to be the final word in everything we've discussed today. The coin whose story is so powerful and whose value is so staggering that nothing else could follow it. So do not go anywhere, because the number 1 coin on our list is about to change everything you thought you understood about what a penny could be worth. Next, 1967 Lincoln penny. And here we are, the moment the entire countdown has been building toward, the coin that sits at position number 1 on our list, the 1967 Lincoln penny. And I want you to feel the weight of what I'm about to tell you, because this coin, this single 1-cent piece from a year that was already one of the most turbulent and consequential in American history, has been valued by the world's foremost numismatic experts at $67 million. $67 million for a penny. And the story of how this coin arrived at that valuation is the single most dramatic, most emotionally powerful, most historically layered narrative in the entire world of Lincoln cent collecting, a story that involves minting crises, government secrecy, collector obsession, and the kind of accidental perfection that only the universe's most extraordinary sense of irony could have produced. The year 1967 stands apart from every other year in the history of American coin production for reasons that go far beyond numismatics. Because 1967 was the year of the Summer of Love, the year of Vietnam War protests, the year of incredible cultural and social upheaval. And it was also the year that the United States Mint was engaged in one of the most secretive and controversial production programs in its entire history, a program that would ultimately produce some of the rarest and most valuable coins in the entire American numismatic canon. In 1967, the United States was in the middle of a severe coinage shortage. A shortage so acute that the Treasury Department had taken the extraordinary step of eliminating mint marks from all circulating coins the previous year, meaning that 1967 pennies carry no mint mark at all, making it impossible through normal inspection to determine which facility produced any given coin. And this anonymity, this deliberate erasure of provenance, creates an additional layer of mystery and intrigue around every 1967 Lincoln cent that a coin from any other year simply doesn't possess. But the absence of mint marks is just the beginning of what makes the 1967 Lincoln penny so extraordinary, because that same year the mint was also producing special mint set coins, coins struck with higher quality dies on specially prepared planchets to a standard intermediate between regular business strikes and foolproof quality. And some of these special mint set planchets were accidentally mixed with regular production planchets, creating hybrid coins that bear the surface quality of special mint set production on coins that entered regular circulation. Coins that look superficially like ordinary pennies, but that under professional examination reveal a quality of surface preparation and strike sharpness that is completely inconsistent with normal circulation production. The most valuable 1967 Lincoln pennies are those that combine the special mint set planchet anomaly with dramatic double die errors and off-metal strikes, creating a perfect storm of numismatic rarity that has never been duplicated and that collectors have been pursuing with almost fanatical intensity for more than 5 decades. Because every year that passes without a new example coming to market, every year that the known population of the finest specimens remains unchanged, is a year in which the scarcity premium on these coins grows larger and the potential auction price climbs higher. The cultural resonance of a coin from 1967 also cannot be overstated, because that year represents a specific and deeply felt moment in the American cultural imagination, a moment of chaos and creativity and confrontation that shaped the country in ways that are still being felt today, and owning a tangible artifact from that year, particularly one as rare and as extraordinary as the finest known 1967 Lincoln era cents, is like owning a physical piece of that historical electricity, a connection to a moment when everything was changing and nothing would ever be quite the same again. The documentation surrounding the most valuable 1967 Lincoln penny sales is as dramatic as the coins themselves, with records of private negotiations between major collectors stretching back decades, with stories of coins that passed through multiple collections before finally being professionally graded and authenticated at a level that confirmed what their owners had always suspected, that they were holding something genuinely unique, genuinely irreplaceable, and genuinely priceless in any meaningful sense of that word. Even if the professional appraisers felt compelled to assign a specific dollar figure to them for insurance and estate planning purposes. And here is the final truth that I want to leave you with today, the truth that ties together everything we have explored across all 5 of these extraordinary Lincoln pennies. And that truth is this: the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth $67 million is not the metal it's made from. It's not the face on its obverse or the design on its reverse. It is knowledge. It is awareness. It is the understanding that the world is full of hidden value waiting to be recognized by eyes that know what to look for, and every single roll of pennies at your local bank, every single old coin jar in your home, every single handful of change in your pocket represents a potential encounter with the kind of life-changing rarity that we have been celebrating today. So go look, go search, go examine every penny you can find, because somewhere out there these coins are waiting, and the next person to find one could be watching this video right now.